I got into it, I remember
Even though they're doing a job,
growing up
they almost feel guilty for asking for money for it. An hour in their house, and drive 20 minutes to a game, it's an hour and 40 minutes time.
Beasley Workwear now proudly sponsors Trade Legends.
Yeah. But that's why I like doing these, because it's just... Like,
You never know what's going to come out here.
You just don't expect it. All right, mate.
He knows what he's doing.
Clap my cheeks, Daddy.
Clap it for me, Jackie.
It was phones on silent.
Go on, do you want to tell them the rules?
Phone's on airplane mode, and when you're talking, you'll have the urge to, when you're making a point like that. So I started off when I was 13, then I joined the Cub Scouts. You'll bang the table when you make a point.
Hands.
He basically tells me off because I get passionate. I'm always like, so, right, but in, yeah. And
Well,
then
the last one I listened to, you've done that, and then everyone was just banging the fucking table.
Oh, that's a fucking nightmare.
just
Yeah.
because he gets really like, he says it's me, but it's actually Jack, because Jack looks at Pete and then them two together like, okay, you like that. And the only other thing, he's not talking.
Yeah,
He was
sometimes.
over here like this.
Yeah, a few people do that. They sort of start talking and lean back and they get comfy, and then they come back in and they're really loud.
You ready then? Do you want to start tonight?
No, I started last time. You start.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh shit, this is going to annoy me, because what episode are we on?
13. It's definitely 13 this time.
Episode 13. But what is it in season? Season 2, episode what?
4.
Ah, it's just fucking fun, let's have it.
Yeah, it might be 5 actually. Yeah, it's 5. Yeah.
Episode 13, yeah.
You can fix it in post anyway, can't you? So,
I like episode 13 this time. Yeah.
So here we are
Welcome back.
Fucking. Do you want to start on me? Don't just talk over me. This is fucking. He turns up late and now he wants to talk over me. So we're on season 2, episode 5. Overall, it's episode 13. We're gonna have to drop one of these because otherwise I'm not going to remember them. And we have another couple of fantastic guests. And we've got Danny from Madden Builders.
How you doing?
Do you, mate?
Huh? That was very timid there, Danny. You can,
I'm warming.
Are you nervous,
He's
Dan?
just shouting at me for not tapping on the table.
you can say hello. And then we have Adam Barry from On the Tools.
how are we all?
That's
Good,
good.
mate.
That's a bit. There he is.
I'm warming.
How we doing? How we doing? So who do you want to start with first?
Let's start with Adam on the tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
See the story.
basically, obviously, we've known each other for a while anyway. So in a sort of more of a work capacity, but from watching you on social media and sort of listening to you and Lee, who are like sort of a bit of me and Pete, like an Ant and Dec sort of.
A budget version of you two.
No, well, me and Pete are pretty budgy, aren't we? We're like budgeons. We're like the budgeons
Budgeons.
of like the duo. I wouldn't say
There's a supermarket called Booths.
Is there?
Yeah.
Why aren't you shopping there? Supporting you?
Not near me. I think it's London.
I can't wait for them to endorse
We
you.
used to have a Budgeons. We had a Budgeons, and then it turned into a Waitrose.
We've got a bit more upmarket now. You don't see many budgeons anyway. I'm going off track here anyway. So, you used to be in the trades?
Yes. Yeah.
So, back in the trades, and now you're, just to give everybody sort of a bit of an overview, On the Tools is, you'd say, a social first platform for the trade community. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. The UK's biggest construction community.
Right. Thank God I got that right. You know, sometimes people go, no, it's not. But I'll start with you because, for me, it's really interesting to listen to sort of how everything's evolved for you, from you going on site, obviously working, doing a job, and then now actually supplying content for the same people that you used to work with. So just take us back to sort of where it all started, if you can. I'm not. It
Not
was
that far.
It was a dark, wet Wednesday, and it was January the 20th in 1983. You know.
I'll start when I guess when I got into the trade.
Yeah. And what trade were you?
So I was a ceiling fixer.
Okay.
Yeah, but I ended up doing a bit of everything, a bit of shop fitting,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But cast back to when I left school. No good grades really. Didn't have good enough grades to go on and do anything. So
Yeah.
it was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was like, I could bum around at uni for a couple of years. That looks like fun.
What
didn't-
course did you go?
No, I didn't
I was
go
going to
there.
say,
So
like, I did a shit course.
they used to, I don't know if they do it anymore, but they used to have like a careers office back in the day, going back a bit now.
Biggest waste of
Yeah,
shite ever.
and for me, it was go in the army or get a trade. So I tried to get an apprenticeship in carpentry, but I couldn't get a firm to sign me up so I could go to college. So I ended up doing like a public service course at college, which meant you could then go and like join the army or go in police force or something like that. So I done that, and I failed that. So I guess two things happened there. One, the week I joined college was like just after 9/11. So it was like the terror attacks happened, and then a week after that was like we're declaring war. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I fancy going to war. You know, I wanted to go in the Marines originally, but when they started talking about sending troops overseas, I was like, I don't know about that. And then started taking a lot of drugs as well. So I was like, I'm not painting a very good picture of myself.
I'm not going to be able to get through the drug test.
Yeah. I was basically a drug using coward. Is what I was. So got past,
Young and dumb.
I was young and dumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so got to the end of that course, failed it, and then a mate of mine said, "There's a job going on a building site, labouring. It's £50 a day." I was like, living with my mum. I was like, that sounds all right. 200 quid a week, take home, flossing, happy days. So I'd done that. I started labouring on a building site, and then when I started speaking to some of the ceiling fixers who was labouring for, they were like earning 1,500 quid a week take home, and I was like, that's insane money. So I thought, I could do this. That's a bit of me, that is. So then I started asking them if I could work for them, and it kind of went from there. So started working for them, ended up sort of like progressing over the years, becoming a ceiling fixer, doing petitions and stuff like that. And then I'd say 4 years later, I went into site management. A company I'd been working for said, do you want to just take a little step back in sort of like salary and stuff like that, and learn to become site manager? So I thought, that sounds really good. Went back to college while also working as well, like done my MVQs, site supervision and management. Then started running jobs for a firm. I was only about 23 at this point, so I'd done like 5 years of being on the tools, and then started working, sort of, you know, wearing a shirt, I guess, in the porter cabin with my clipboard, walking around site, giving it the big one. So I've done that for a bit, but in all honesty...
Can I ask one thing about that? Because when you're like a site supervisor and you're young...
Oh, mate.
Like one thing that I found really difficult when I came into the business was I was walking around with a suit that was about 4 sizes too big for me, like Tom Hanks from Big. And I'd rock into
Not like that now.
Well, I've gone oversized because I'm trying to hide this dad bod. But I used to walk into places and people would just think, guys, this kid like 12.
Oh, they hated me.
Yeah.
They hated me. So I was working on like big jobs. I was running Kingsmill Hospital in Mansfield at the time, and there was 70 blokes on there at one point, and I was the main contact. So, and because it was towards the end of the job, so no one was earning price money, so they all wanted to be paid day work, and I was being told by my gaffer, no, they get paid the price. So they're coming in and going, need to make my money up, because the job was shit, to be fair to them. And then, they've got like a 23-year-old saying, no. They're like, you're just a prick, and I'll be like, horrible. But that really knocked me, that did. So I had a like 2-year period where, looking back, I was probably like quite depressed. I used to drive to work
And not wanting to get there.
and hope I'd like have a little car accident, nothing too major, just enough to like go, oh, I've got to spend a month at home because I've done my shouldering or something. It was horrible. So after that, I decided to go back on the tools. I was like, this ain't for me. Like, no one respects me. And to be honest, I didn't really know what I was doing. I running a fucking £1 million contract. Like
When they
70
asked
people.
you to take that change from you was being a ceiling fixture, and you wanted to do that because you'd started labouring and you'd seen them do it, and it's more money than that. Did you want to do that, or?
I think I just followed the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. They dangled that carrot, and I was like, yeah, it's brilliant. And I didn't really.
You do though when you're younger.
Yeah, I didn't really think like what it would be, and I, again, I thought I always wanted something more, and although I did enjoy like being hands-on and being on the tools and building, creating something out of just like raw materials, and then standing back going, I'm fucking good at my job. I just wanted a little bit more, and I thought the site supervision management was it, but it wasn't. So I ended up leaving that job and going back on the tools. A couple of years later, I set my own business up. Had a few lads working for me, and that was hard. I was young, I think 24, 25 when I set that up. And at that period, I was working for a lot of businesses, and it was like the Wild West. Like, some of them just wouldn't pay you on time, and I'm trying to manage that. First business I've ever ran. And that, I ended up leaving that business because it got to a point where I think it was like November, and there was a company that knocked me for about $7,000, and I'd already paid the lads out. I paid for all the digs. Took them to court, and they went into liquidation, and this was just before Christmas, so Christmas ruined, kids were crying, do you know what I mean? It was fucking, it was horrible. So then at that point there, my missus was like, you need to just go and get a fucking proper job.
Because that's what you've just said there. That's a lot for one man on your shoulders. Like you mentioned, you might have been a bit depressed because of what went wrong with the surveyor or the site manager job. Imagine, like, you don't want to go work in the morning, then some builder takes you for $7,000. You got staff you got to look after. So it's a lot of pressure for one. And you're only 25.
It's funny today because I saw a post from Rye Davis where he posted that a customer had said, look, if you do this job, I'll pay you the next day. And then obviously he put it on his TikTok, and everyone's like, oh, it's 30 days, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but if somebody says they're going to do something, like the amount of people in the building industry that go into liquidation, the people that built this actual studio, went into liquidation and took somebody for 600,000. But then they can start up under a different name and carry on.
Yeah, which is exactly what the last company done. That stitched me up. And the annoying thing about that was, I because I'd been knocked before, I had quite strict payment terms. I said, if ever you don't pay me and you don't let me know, then I'll just pull the lads off site. And I was always upfront about that. So it got to the point where he didn't pay me, and I said, we had this deal, like, this is what I'm going to do. And as soon as I pulled the lads off, he just went, well, I ain't paying you at all, ever. And I was like, but, so when I went to court, the first sort of like proceeding, they just admitted it. There was no reason. He could have just said, I wasn't happy with his work, but he didn't. But he knew that he was going into liquidation, I didn't. So it was just that was the point where I was like, well, my missus was like, go and get a proper job. So at that point, someone who had done some work for us when I was running jobs, I reached out to him, said, can you give me a job? I think he was like, you know, an okay salary, but it come with a van, phone, two weeks holiday, which is fucking rare working for anyone in the industry. So I'd done that for a couple of years then, and it was shop fitting, but I'd go in, I'd do the partitions.
Was it more stable work then for you?
It was stable. It was nice having that money come in every week, and because I'd been running big jobs, running a small like hair salon, we're refitting hair salons. It was a piece of piss. You know, I'd manage the guys who'd come in. It was really easy. I'd do a bit of the work myself, so I was on the tools, but part sort of like liaising with the client. It was nice for 2 years, but again, there was something like I wanted more. I felt like this is good. I enjoy it. A lot of working away, a lot of long hours, good money. But again, I wasn't like feeling fulfilled. So me and Lee, who's now the CEO of On the Tools, we've been mates since we were like 10 years old. We tried to launch a few businesses up until On the Tools, like mad business. We tried to launch a music app at one point called Live Music Masters.
Do you know what though? You laugh about these things now, but like I look back on like some of the business ideas that I had when I was younger, but actually like those little ideas, you still take little bits of them into the one that you actually end up doing.
Yeah, you do. Well, it was an app to begin with, this music app, and we went to get it priced up. We thought, because we were fucking idiots, and we didn't know what we was doing, we thought it would cost like $5,000, and we went to get it priced, and it was like tens of thousands, and we were like, oh shit, like, I didn't think of that. Funnily enough though, a few years later, we was at an event, and like this awards scene for startups, and we met someone who was doing the exact same thing, and they'd made it work. So we was kind of like, that's nice that someone's gone on and done what we was trying to do. But yeah, so I used to sell Argos returns, like I used to sell toys on eBay and stuff like that. But the idea for On the Tools actually came from a recruitment app. So me and Lee were in his garden just having a piss up, and I was moaning about I couldn't get some plasterers on a job I was working on. Someone had let me down. And what you do is you go through your phone, ring every plasterer you know, and then you start ringing other people in other trades. Do you know any plasterers? Couldn't get anyone. And Lee, being like a tech nerd, he was like, surely there's an app for that. said, well, you got like checker trade and rated people, but that's more like B2C, like someone coming out to your house and doing some work. There's nothing really there for like a B2B point of view.
Yeah.
So then we went, let's make an app. So the original idea for On the Tools was a recruitment app. I said, we priced it up in India. It was real cheap, $6,000.
I thought you got 6 rupees there.
Yeah, $6,000. Funnily enough, we got ripped off. Getting an app made in India. Yeah, who'd have thought that? So that never happened. But what I said was, let's create a Facebook page to market this app to, because we had no money. We got the $6,000 done on Lee's credit cards, actually. Yeah, he always said between us. I didn't even have one. It was Lee's credit card. I was like, let him take the fucking... Yeah. So we done that. We started the Facebook page and it just blew up. It was just at that point where Lad Bible had about 500,000 followers and everyone was like going on Facebook and everything was going viral and all that.
Was it a page or a group?
It was a page.
Was it just a page?
Yeah, it was a Facebook page. It was the first thing we set up. Because I said to Lee, I've got loads of funny videos from site. Like, I was still on the tools at that point. Yeah. I had 4 and 3 of them were shit. So like, we set it up and it just boomed overnight. Like we started getting like thousands every day and we were like, what's going on here? And then we'd wake up in the morning, there'd be like 20,000. And then before you knew it was like 250,000 people. And then I guess what's happened from then until now is we got brands coming up to us and saying, can we advertise with On the Tools? We're like, no, we're a recruitment company. And then after about like the third or fourth one of asking, we were like, well, how much? And they'd be like 500 quid. And we were like, back then we was like, fucking sound, people, Las Vegas. We were like, yes, give us the money.
So, ladies and gents, if you want to save big on some big name brands, then Trade Legends is the place to do that. Head on over to www.tradelegends.uk/discounts.
And that's how it went. But what happened was they were giving us the material, we were putting it out, and then the audience were going, "This is shit, you fucking sellouts," giving us loads of abuse. So we thought, why don't we create it? I've been in the trade.
Yeah.
I've got to be in drama. I know what I'm doing.
And then they accepted it more because it was.
They accepted it a bit more. Now I think along the last 7 years, we've veered in and out of this sellout type content back into some really good sort of for the community content. But yeah, that's what we've done. We launched a shop as well because at the point I was still on the tools, and we thought we need to make some money because we had no like regular income. So we kept getting messages, people saying, "Send us an On the Tools hoodie." I was like, we don't do hoodies. And when after about the 10th message of someone sending it, was like, should we just do like a quick 48-hour shop? So that's what we've done. Lee made a Shopify account overnight. We asked the community to give us your best slogans. Some of them were like disgusting. and I like, yeah.
Jokes.
Honestly, I'll tell you what some of them were now. But I'm not proud of it. Do you know what I mean? The community gave us these anyway. But like we done designs like hold my hammer while I nail your wife. Plumbers make you wet. It was vile. Like, you know what I mean? But
I'm going to get you one of them hoodies.
Honestly, they sold, and we made like, I can't remember what the actual figure was, but it was something like in the first month we made about 14 grand. And Lee was like, Lee just quit his job. Yeah, he just went, I've quit. And then a few months later, I'd quit. But that was back in the day when Facebook would give you 100% reach. So you put a post out, everyone that followed you seen it. So we were getting loads of sales with no like marketing spend. And then over the years, they kind of dialed it back. And then we made a decision to shut the shop down in the end and concentrate on the media side. So what we've gone into, to cut a long story short, is we're trying to build a meaningful community, because I think in the beginning we were just like, how do we make money?
Yeah.
Not thinking of the community, just thinking about how do we use them to make money. Whereas along the journey, we've kind of thought
money
actually
comes when they're happy.
Yeah, and we've got a responsibility. You've got millions of people in the industry, probably one of the only industries in the country that are like really underserved. You go into the construction industry, you either, I'll talk about myself because it's a little bit easy, but you get to work for a one-man band in the pub. You don't get told about pensions. You don't get told about holiday pay. They don't really give a shit about you. It's a hard industry to work in, physically, mentally. you guys know the stats on sort of like suicides in the trade and stuff like that. It's because they're so underserved. You're getting your fucking van broken into, your tools nicked all the fucking time. It's hard. So how do we now, with this following and with the brand partners we've got, how do we work with those to actually like make a difference? I think so. That's kind of where we're at now. That's where our heads are at.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a long one, weren't it?
Well, that was something you were talking about the other day on your post. That's something you've been doing as well, isn't it?
We did the tool theft petition together.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, just before COVID. So the thing that people got to understand is though the stuff with the way you get like I don't know, Juicens or someone to do paid content with you, that enables you to keep it going and do the other stuff, you know, the
Exactly.
real stuff. So you have got to have a mixture of it. So you can't say you've sold out. You're using that money to carry on doing what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I think there's been points where we've done the wrong thing, and we can hold our hands up and say, actually, yeah, we just done what the client wanted, and we kind of sold the audience to them. But now it's a community, and it's like what we do now is we work with our clients and say, you can work with us and you can reach them, but you've got to do it so they've got value. Yeah. That's the difference. Whereas before we were just going, buy this person's product. Yeah. Whereas now we go, how can you work with us to offer them value? If they feel like they're getting value, they don't mind being sold to. Exactly, yeah, they don't mind because you're giving them something, not just shoving something in front of them. You've got to give them something that's of value to them. So that's kind of where our headspace is at now.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go back to, so when I was listening to you, you said like, you made that 14 grand. Lee obviously is probably a bit more like me, where he's just like,
I think it was, you know what? I think it was less. I think it was a lot less than that, actually, thinking about it, because it was an amount of money where I thought, you fucking mad, because he quit his job.
But even like 14 grand, like you're thinking, actually between two of you, and you're thinking, is that going to last me? Like to quit your job? I mean, like, were you slower to think the same way as Lee because of the stuff that had happened to you in the past? So, you know, like obviously, you've been bitten with that person taking you for 7 grand. You've gone into a job where, like, tradies have all just abused you on the site for being, you know, the site manager. Did you think in your head at that point, like, Lee, you crazy kamikaze bastard?
No, I didn't.
And
I
then
think
it took you a while to follow him, or did you?
No, because I was working away a lot and I was really hands-on. Lee basically started the business while he was still working for someone else. So he was probably doing like about 2 hours work for them, and the rest of the time he was doing it for us, and then he was going home and doing the work. So he was doing most of the work. So it made sense for him to be first to jump onto it. When I jumped on, we had 3 grand in the bank. That was it. And it was going down as the time went on. And he said, if you don't jump on now and help me, you do what I'm doing and I'll go and try and sell some deals in and stuff like that and make some money. Then we're going to run out of money. So when I actually left my job, there was 3 grand in the bank. And we said, well, we've got a month then, haven't we? Because you can have 1,500 quid and I'll have 1,500 quid. And that's literally what we've done. You know, I jumped on and luckily, you know, we're both grafters and we put the work in. And some months we didn't get paid, you know, some months we had nothing. And my missus was like, you've done it to us again. You know what I mean? You said you wouldn't do this again.
But that's hard.
This time it's going to work.
Yeah, but that's hard as well, because obviously when you start a business, like the amount of people that tell you it's not going to work, you're mental, don't do it, all the rest of it. But obviously because you've had previous, you know, like a lot of people we don't talk about on here, like we talk about mental health, but when you're going home and stuff isn't going right, you're not getting paid, you know, you've got to look your missus in the eye and the kids are sort of like looking at you and you're thinking, you know, it's a scary time.
It's tough, mate. Yeah, it is really tough. And I think the older I've got, the less risky I've got, but I'm still like it now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love a risk.
Come on, we got 3 grand, let's go.
Yeah. I'm just very competitive, and if someone says you can't do something, I'm like, oh, we'll see. Yeah, it might kill me. I might go bankrupt. Do you know what I mean? But I'm going to try.
I think if you've got a good idea, like you guys obviously, because I mean, I look at it now, obviously, how TikTok is growing now. And that sort of reminds me of, like, Facebook at one point, it just went mental on there, didn't it? Like, everybody had a group or a page or something on there. But to actually grow that and then be able to monetize from that, he's like, I mean, how many followers you got on?
Overall, I think there's across all platforms about 6 million.
Is it?
But that's obviously combined because some people follow us on Facebook and your Twitter and TikTok. And then you've got to whittle that down because there's obviously not 6 million tradespeople. You know, but we've got a high number of tradespeople. And And what we're trying to do is, we want to be that household name in the trade and make a difference.
I mean, the thing is, you say they're not just, but there's people that might follow you that are married to a plumber or
I think we
married
get
to
that a
an
lot.
electrician, and then they laugh about the videos or say, "Have you seen this content on there?" So actually, like, even though you've got 6 million, you're still crossing over into other areas as well. There,
Yeah, we
which
are.
is good.
Yeah, we've got trade groups, so Facebook groups. We've got about 100,000 across all of our trade groups, and you're not in one of those unless you're in the trade or very, very close to it, because who the fuck wants to be in a carpenter's trade group? Do you know what I mean? No one wants to be in one of those.
I
Really,
know
do
somebody
they?
likes wood.
You trying to hold this wood?
I love wood. Can I join your group?
But no, it's mad. Like you said there, TikTok at the minute is insane growth. We hit the 1 million mark in January. In January, we got 157,000 followers on TikTok.
It's unbelievable.
We've never had that growth on any channel ever in 1 month. It's fucking insane.
Trade Legends has now partnered with Tradeify. Get a free 14-day trial plus 50% off your first 3 months with discount code TRADELEGENDS.
Yeah,
I mean, when did you start the TikTok then for you guys?
probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the time it was, there was a bit of pushback internally actually, because people were like, I don't know how we can fit on this platform. It's just like teenagers.
You have to. Yeah, we
singing
did the
and
same.
dancing.
That's what I got. You're too old.
Yeah. But
Yeah. My daughter's like, Dad, you're way too old. You're way too
It's
old.
because you don't know how to lay a slab.
Yeah, 250,000 people seem to know better.
yeah.
I find that on the TikTok, that's the most engagement you get when there's something where they can say you've done it wrong.
Yeah.
Because they just want to tell you it's shit or it's wrong.
Yeah.
And then your engagement skyrockets.
Yeah, they're doing you a favour, aren't they?
Yeah.
But you're going to get like social. I remember like taking it to heart whenever we'd put something out. And most of the stuff we put out is stuff that people film themselves and send in to us anyway, and we just rejig it and put it back out. And then someone would go, "This is fucking shit." And then I would be in the comments going, "You're a prick, fuck off." And then I'd ban them. And then Lee's like, "Nah, like, I can't be doing that now." Like, he used to take the piss out of me because like I used to have a ban hammer. I'd be like, "He's gone, bum." Like, just get rid of him. There's clients working with us now. You can't say stuff like that.
I'm going to try and get
So
ban
we-
hammered on.
So we had to try and just be, get a thicker skin, I guess, because we now sort of like partner with people who film their own content. We put that back out, and it's wicked content. But there's always some prick in there going, "Do it like that." Do you know what I mean? And you just like, there's going to be haters no matter what you do. So you just got to shake it off. Like, you're going to get it, aren't you?
I mean, so you built this brand, and it's going really well. Obviously, one thing I want to touch on with you as well, because I talked with you about obviously Adam's scenario. I think when I first came across you, I think you were in the office in Tamworth, was it?
Yeah.
So you're in the small office in Tamworth, and I think you had maybe 10 or 12 staff. So this is going back when we were
4 years or something.
4 years. So obviously, just to give people, like, obviously we talked about the TikTok stats, but the most impressive one for me, obviously business wise, was you've gone from probably 10 or 12 original staff, because you brought Andy in was your first signing,
First
wasn't it?
employee,
Your first
yeah.
signing with his
Yeah.
t-shirt up. Just from there to like now, how many staff?
There's 90 now.
90 staff.
Which is insane, isn't it? But I think on the tools is everything at the minute. Like that is our biggest community, and it's the shining light, and it's the thing that's going to make the most impact. But what we realised we were really good at was creating content for social media and growing people's social media channels and their own communities. So we started getting approached by other brands to say, "Can you do this for us?" And these were brands that some of them had nothing to do with the construction industry. Well, yeah, okay, we'll do that. So that's kind of how we've grown. So although the overall group's called Electric House, which is almost like a social community publishing group, whatever you want to call it, we are on the tools, but we've got this sort of like agency within the business that does this
Content creation.
Yeah, content creation. We run people's social media channels, again, that have nothing to do with the trade. So that's why we've managed to sort of grow the business as we have. But yeah, it's been a mad journey.
Yeah, 90 staff, because I'm pretty certain that it was about 10 or 12.
Not many. Yeah. There's it's weird. I still, because in my mind, I haven't changed. You know, I've got to give myself a bit of credit and say like I've learnt a lot. But in my mind, I still feel like I'm that
person with Lee in the back garden getting drunk.
Yeah, just a tradie. Like, and I look at what I've done, and sometimes I go, oh, "Fucking how the hell have I done this?" Do you know what I mean? Like, there's been a luck along the way, but I look, sit there and I think, I must be the luckiest person in the world to have done this. But then
I think some of it's luck, but I think obviously you going through the situation, for me, listening to what you've said, going through that situation, getting the knockbacks, actually going into a trade, like you know what they want. Do you know what I mean? So you can sort of, what do you find funny? Obviously, like the majority of builders or blokes or ladies on site, they all enjoy similar-ish sort of things. I mean, if I was to say to 10 builders or 10 plumbers, do you like gaming? I can guarantee you like 7 or 6 of them are going to like it. So you've tapped into that from the stuff that you've done before.
Yeah, I had that in. I guess I was the market research, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I still do it now. I like to, you know.
Would you ever go back for a day on the tools?
You know what, I would, yeah. Sometimes I do. You know, I'll go and have a shit in the back of a van or something. You know what I mean? Like, just to make sure. Do you know what I mean? But I would
Hopefully
do.
not in the back of his.
I would do, but yeah, I think I don't. You know what it is? I still don't know what I want to do in life.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I love my job. I enjoy it, and I think I'm pretty good at it because creating content for social media in the way that we do it. There's not many people who have been doing it longer than I have because we were kind of in at the start, like the gold rush. Yeah. So I'm quite good at that. But if I, you know, got the choice to have any job in the world, would I say, oh yeah, I want to be a chief content officer?
What would you do?
You know what? It's. I got asked the question earlier, and I said like, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, like a postman. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like a nice easy job, get to wear shorts, like. Just walking around on your own.
The winter's
no one working for you, no stress. Just getting some exercise in.
The amount of dogs that bite your hand through that leg.
I bet they see some sights though, don't they? You know what? I don't know. I don't know what I'd do. I think about this a lot, but who knows? You know, I worked in the trade for 12 years. I've been doing this for 7 years. Yeah. Who knows what I'll be doing next? Yeah.
Were you making content as a tradesman?
No,
you weren't.
I am like. Anyone who knows me knows like I'm shit at tech. Like I don't do tech very well. Yeah. I try and use the channels and I force it out. Yeah. I like Instagram. That's like kind of personally that's my thing. But before that, I had no idea. Like we didn't have a fucking clue. We just winged. Honestly, we winged it. We got our first client deal, and we got a freelance videographer in, and we'd got this deal, and we basically just said, yeah, we know how to do it all. I watched the night before we went out and filmed this fucking this piece of content, which went down really well. It got millions of views. I went on YouTube and Googled how to direct like Ron Howard, right? Watched it, and he had this New York fucking baseball cap on. He had a gilet on. He had a megaphone. Couldn't get hold of a megaphone, but I had a gilet and a cap. Yeah. And I turned up the next day and I give it the Ron Howard on site, and the client was like, he knows what he's doing. That's honestly what I done. I literally watched a YouTube video the night before and we fucking nailed it. But like obviously we've got better since then. That's going back like 5 years now. But you just figure it out, don't you?
Yeah, I think the thing is you have to learn as you go on.
Yeah, you've got to.
So I bought a dog off a blacksmith. When I got him home, he made a bolt for the gate. Fuck's sake, that's bad.
You know, looking back, I've made mistakes. Stuff we used to put out, we've changed. It's an education piece. I put a piece of content out once. God knows how I thought this was all right. It's a picture of a bandaged hand, right? And the caption was like something about whacking your thumb with a hammer. And someone had put their cock in where the thumb is. And I put that on the page. I thought it was fun. I thought, it's hilarious. Put a cock on the page. Like, this is going back like 6.5 years when I used to do the content. Looking back, like, what was I thinking?
Hammer band.
Yeah, what was I thinking doing stuff like that? But I'm very good at I'm very self-aware. I look at the stuff we've done wrong. I take the criticism on board, and I'll go, you know what? I'm not just going to go, no, bollocks to it. Right. Look at it, and actually, a lot of the time we've got things wrong. Like, okay, well, how do we do better? Yeah. And that's kind of where my head's at the minute. I'm like, how do we improve this then? Yeah.
learning from your mistakes is the best way.
That's it, yeah.
Best way to do it.
Well, I'm going to come over to you now, Danny. So we'll take you back in the time machine and were you one of these that left from school into trades? Were you family business, any of that sort of stuff? Just give us a little bit of background with you.
My dad ran the firm.
Yeah.
He worked with his dad, and obviously growing up around trades, I was always going in summer holidays. My dad would always say, you know, you're not going to piss about for the 6 weeks. You're going to come in and work half, and then. But I enjoyed it. I like, I'm going to work with my dad. Now it's a lot more difficult than that, going there every day with him. But I left school. I stayed on school really to really piss about. I did A-levels, which was totally pointless. I did
What did you do?
I did drama. I did the easy ones. I did theology.
RE.
Theology, yeah.
Yes, God does exist.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Design technology.
Yeah.
And then I went on a lads' holiday. There was about 30 of us, went to Corfu, and it was kind of like, when I get back, Kavos. Yeah.
Pete's like, I was
Completed it, mate.
Completed it, yeah. Been there, done that.
Kavos uncovered. Love it.
And it was literally get back, and what do? It was just, I was going to work with my dad. That was it. I just started, went straight out, and that was what I was going to do. There wasn't no looking for any jobs. There wasn't, maybe I'll try this, maybe I'll try that. It was literally back, and I think it was a bit expected that being the firstborn, golden child, I would go straight into the building with him and do exactly what he did with his dad. I did that for a few years. I then thought to myself, do you know what? I'd like to try something different. I went and worked in a builder's yard for a year, and I hated it. And the idea was that I could move up.
So why did you think that? Did you just feel like you wanted to do your own thing?
Yeah,
without your dad?
I think it was just to get away and just do my. I was the boss's son, so it was always,
You could have gone and been a rep in Kavos.
I thought that's where it was going. He ain't coming back.
That's what I should have done, yeah. But I think it was that thing of that the boss's son always got an easy ride, which was so far from the truth.
Yeah. If anything, sometimes it's harder.
It's worse. I'm the boss's son, and I never got any overtime. No. It's always for love. Because I lived at home when I did my apprenticeship, you couldn't be late because you're at home and your boss is there, so you're up and out. Yeah. And I remember once I dislocated my ankle playing football. I still had to go to work. Yeah. It just made me go and watch. But that's the worst thing is you work late, you work overtime, you work on a Saturday, you don't get paid.
My dad was real old school, and we talked about this earlier about, you got up, and if you weren't up and out at that time in the morning, you were left behind. He expected a lot, and I think that was what was expected, is that I would go straight from there, straight into the track. And I wanted to, don't get me wrong, I loved being out and about, but it come to a point where I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to try something different. I wanted to go to work dressed in a suit for a day, be nice and clean, and just try it and give it a go. So they stuck me in a yard for a year. I did that. I hated it. It was boring. I went into the office. I did a little bit of repping. And I just thought, this just ain't for me. You know what it's like? You go around to every site and they're like, you know what it's like? Reps come to site and it's like, nah, mate, we're too busy.
Yeah. The worst is when you spoke to him on the phone and I'll be down there and that. Yeah. He's had to go home.
Yeah. Yeah, the boss is not around now, and it's like, so what I did was I ended up, do you know what I used to do? I used to go out shopping with the missus. I used to go around Lakeside, go out and go, I've got so many calls, I won't be back in the office, is that all right? And she'd say, the manager at the time would say, just take your time, go around to different sites. And I was literally like, this is just stupid. I'm like, I'm going out for the day and I hate what I'm doing. And my dad just said, just come back with me.
And you got to spend the day with the missus as well, mate? Sorry, Danny's missus.
Yeah, she'll watch, I get told off. I loved it every minute.
Lakeside.
Yay. So it was back with Dad. So I went back with him and that was it. And I kind of thought, do you know what? This is a chance to be my business, but I think, like I was saying earlier, is that when I was in my 20s, I wasn't like a lot of the guys you've had on here. They got their heads screwed on, and they're out to make a business for themselves and make money. My idea was, I make money, I'm out on the weekend. I live to the weekend.
Oh, you're in
That's
good
what I wanted
company
to do.
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. And I met my missus, and it was like, yeah, we're out every weekend, make money, do my car up so it looked like a spaceship. Spend
I've done that.
Yeah, spend a ridiculous amount on a Citroen Saxo. That was just like, yeah. Now I try, BTR, yeah, have it super chips. It goes that little bit faster.
That was my car as well.
Yeah. How much you spend on that? About 11 grand, yeah.
More than the car.
Yeah, that's it. I had it on finance, and I took it back to the finance company when I was paying my finance, and they were just like, that ain't the car we sold you.
We don't have that.
You know, and that was it. It was
Only NASA's going to buy that.
And now I drive around, I'm like, what a knob. I look at the people drive around. But it was just, that was what I enjoyed doing. It wasn't, for me, it wasn't to work and build this, you know, become super successful. It was every weekend, I want to be out, I want to be with my mates, having a laugh, doing up my car, and just, yeah, living life. And then it kind of got to a point where I could really see, my dad had a lot of subcontractors that he'd worked with for years, but bottom line, they were taking the piss out of him, you know, and he's built a very, very successful business. But they were like leeches off of him. And it was so, they were so almost begrudging the way he'd done so well. And it's like, oh, we paid for that, and we got him that, and we're the reason why he's so successful. And in the end, I saw it as, do you know what? This is my business. This is my future business. And I need to start taking control. And I need to start, you know, really trying to be a part of it and working towards building something that he has. Because my dad came from a real crap upbringing. His dad was a carpenter, and probably one of the best carpenters, you know, he said he's ever met. He was incredible. But he liked to drink. Most of his money was spent going out with friends. His mum got polio when she was like 20, so she was in a wheelchair. And they had it hard, really hard. You know, they were put in a nun's home when they were kids. So he had that hunger to build that. I didn't, because I had a nice upbringing. I had things as I was growing up. But I saw it as a point where I got to a point where I thought, do you know what? I want to be part of this business, because he's done so well, I would hate to fail him and, you know, just throw it away. And we ended up, we got rid of a lot of they were, as I say, they were taking the piss out of it.
Klingons.
They were Klingons, yeah. And, you know, any chance to sort of have a break and just not do work and, you know, skive off. But it was, I kind of saw the bigger picture. And in further on down the line, cut a long story short, I was taking more responsibility and seeing the way that he wasn't going to do it forever, or that he's still doing it now. And he's, in the last sort of year, he's been diagnosed with Parkinson's, so he's taken a big step back.
They don't know when to stop, though. That's the problem.
But he doesn't want to stop. And I said to him, Dad, like, because people would always say to me, well, when are you going to take over? When are you going to let your dad retire? And I said, listen, Dad, if you don't want to do this anymore, tell me you don't want to do it. And he's like, I do want to do it.
That's his baby, though, isn't it?
Yeah. And he wants to be out there doing the digging and do it, but he can't. He can't do the physical side anymore. But he's still got that hunger. To him, money, in a way, like material things mean nothing to him. If he lost everything tomorrow, you know, he'd be back up in the morning and working at getting it again. For him, it's the drive of making a successful business, of doing good work, of building a reputation where clients say, Madden Builders. Yeah, you know, we had a district surveyor came out to look at one of our jobs last week, and he just said, you know, your name speaks volumes in the area. I wouldn't have even bothered coming out.
This week's giveaway is sponsored by Ultra Grime, the disposable cloth wipes infused with aloe extract, leaving your hands safe and your workspace clean. We're also giving away lots of other tradie merch, And for our main prize, a £250 voucher from Power Tool Mate Prizes. To find out how you can win all of these prizes, head on over to our website, www.tradelegends.uk.
Now at 40, I'm realising the stresses and the way he behaved when I was younger towards me is the reason why, because it's massive stress.
When you were younger and working together, was there a bit of conflict there, or did you work together fine?
I mean, like, people will come on site now and they say, blimey, you had that got a bit heated between you and your dad this morning. I'm like, that's not heated.
Yeah.
That's just an average conversation.
But when you're young, though, you think you know everything, don't you?
You do.
Yeah, I had that
Like your
problem.
dad tells you
You do.
something, you go, oh, fuck off. And then, like, I don't know, some tosser in a nightclub will go, yeah, and you're like, yeah, it's true, yeah. You just don't want to believe your parents, do you?
Yeah, my dad used to tell me to do stuff, and you almost like resent it because it's your dad telling you to do stuff. And there was like one thing I remember. I was just going to change an immersion heater, so I knew I needed an immersion
I
spanner.
thought you were going to say he told you to be on time.
I needed an immersion spanner, hose, tester screwdriver, and that was it to do the job. So that's what I took in. And he just wanted me to take my whole kit bag in, and I'm like, no, I don't need. And we just argued over that.
I bet you take your whole kit bag in now, don't you?
Well, yeah, because he was right. Because the point is, you're doing the immersion, but what if something else goes wrong? You need a pair of grips. Like,
But you wouldn't want to tell him that.
But at the time, because I was young, you sort of argue for argue's sake.
Yeah.
But they tell you that because they've done it 100 times, but you just don't want to hear it from your parents.
I think I kind of realise is that the best way to deal with my dad is to just keep it shut and do as you're told, because he was old school. I mean, there wasn't none of this, no, sorry son, but that's not the way you do it. If you'd mind listening to the way I'm telling you to do it, it was like, do as you're fucking told, or I'm going to knock 10 bells of shit at you. I mean, I remember we were putting this plasterboard up, and he said, watch the corners. And I said, I am watching the corners. I was about 15, 16, and I could barely reach to push it up. And as I pushed it into the corner, a corner snapped. And he looked, and I tried to put my hand over the corner. I thought, I'm just going to hide it. I'm going to screw it. And I'm going to him, give me the drill. I'll do this bit over here. And he goes, let me come over. I said, no, it's fine, Dad. I got it. He comes over. He's like, it's the corner. You've hit the corner. And he literally just started smashing the plasterboard. And I'm standing in the corner like that. And he stormed off, walked out. And the other guys come out. He's like, that escalated quickly. And he was literally like 100 like that, from 0 to 100, and that's why I suppose
that's the stress, though, I think, of running a business. Like when you've had those days and you go home and you're just like, one little thing's just
Yeah, my granddad used to just throw.
Throw
you
things.
Bastard, and he just threw. Kev said once he threw a pair of grips out of a window and it went 3 gardens away because he was so pissed off.
somebody sunbathing.
I don't think I do that. I don't really get angry. If I make a mistake, I'll just get a bit quiet.
Some people like me, because I don't know how to control my temper. Like the red mist descends for me.
That's what my dad used to say, red mist. Yeah, he's just said once that he used to say like it's ding ding back, because my dad boxed for years. So he said it's like back in the ring. It's like ding ding, a bell goes off and it's like the red mist comes over. It's like yeah. But that was his. As I said saying earlier, there was no way of dealing with people like if you don't want to do the job, then there'll be another person that does want to do it. See you later. And that was his mentality. But it was drilled into me is that kind of old school. You don't give up. And I'd probably drill it a bit into my kids. No, you don't give up. Just because something doesn't work out, you keep going, you keep pushing. And, I'm one of these guys that my dad would say to me, I bet there's no chance you could get that 5 ton of type 1 round the back before lunchtime. Well, I'm like, game on, let's go. Whereas like my other brothers who would come and work were like, yeah, cool story, mate, no worries. Like, yeah, I'm going to go at my own pace and it gets round when it gets round. But for me, it was always that trying to impress. Trying to, like the hard man image, of that, like, I can do this. And now I see at 40 and doing a lot more of what he would do, I see the stress and maybe the reason why he was the way he was when I was being brought up, because, he was quite savage in his ways of like, if I did something wrong, it was, he's been brought up with nothing, you know, when they talk about like the it was like you said, like Christmases and things like that. They didn't get presents, and you know, he told me, he said like my granddad would be more, he'd go and spend the money on his mates and come around and have a drink, and you know, they'd be sitting there with nothing, and that's how he was brought up. So the material things, he had that inbred into him, is that it was the fight for success, is that he could be successful if he worked hard. I mean, he went and took a job at County Hall when he left school, and it was a really, really good job, and it was in an office, and he left that to go in the building, and my nan was disgusted with him, his mum, because she said like, why do you want to go and be a builder? Because in a way, and I think now this is where it's got to change, is that going into the trades was seen as a bit of a failure. I went into the trade from school, all my mates went to uni.
I'll be honest with you though, the ones from my school, and there was a couple of lads. There was one guy called Ross, and you know, everybody used to belittle him because he wasn't the sharpest tool in the box, no pun intended. But he left school, and by 2021, he had his own business and was driving a Range Rover Sport from his building company.
Yeah.
You know, all the other kids I went to uni and stuff like that just came out with student debt and were working as, I don't know, in recruitment or whatever,
a lot of my mates came out with no jobs, and I was earning okay money, and I always had money because I worked. You know, if I wanted to go out at a weekend, I'd still have to work the Saturday. And bottom line, my dad said like, you're in Saturday, and if I went out to all hours and he wanted me to come in, and it was like, you're coming in. And there's no way I would ever give him the satisfaction of saying, you know, he'd say to me, I'm a bit tired out late last night. No, I'm fine.
And when you're younger, you don't appreciate that side. That's probably why you're the way you are now.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you're not going to get any success if you're lying in bed and you're not going to work.
And I think that builds that kind of mentality, which is why I find it hard when maybe dealing with labourers and people coming into the building.
Wokies.
You know, that fragile, you know, as long as you think of my feelings and ask me how and don't get me wrong, you know, I want people to work for me that want to work with me and want to, you know, I am definitely want to know how they are, and with the mental health things, if something not's right, but I don't have time to piss about with, you know, oh, I'm tired and I'm a bit wet today, and it's like, come on, let's just go. This is, you know, it is a bit of that hard man, like old school mentality.
It's hard to balance it, because obviously I see stuff from the mental health side, but then it's, you know, you're trying to run a business as well at the same time. So it's such a hard balance of like making sure people are all right, but actually making sure that is still able to pay for people to have a job. Yeah. Such a tough balance that is.
I think it's when you run a business, well, who asks you if you're right? You know, when you're running a business, but you're not seeing, you know, whoever says to you, how you doing? Are you all right? No one says it. Yeah. Because you're the boss and you're in charge, and you should be able to take all that on your shoulders. And
my only thing with running this place is I go home and I take it out on my missus. Like, my missus is the one that bears the brunt of if I've had a shit day. Yeah. And obviously she really has nothing to do with what goes on here, but she has to put up with that side of things, or your kids or whatever. Yeah.
But that's it, you snap at your kids. And I know you feel bad, like, you know, trying to ask me a question, you think, I
get Blippy off the TV now.
It's like any situation in life, though. Like, even on social media, you read a comment where someone says, oh, that job's shit, or whatever they say. They might just be a dick, but they might have had a bad day and they're just taking it out on you. So there's levels to what you think. That's why whenever I get a negative comment, I never really bite. I'll either make a joke out of it or kill it with kindness or ignore it, because a lot of the time they just want a reaction. But yeah, you've got to think sometimes, how was their day? Have they had a shit day, and are they just taking out on me? And then, like, you might snap at your kids, but then you'll realise that's because this went wrong at work today, whatever, and then you'll go and you'll say, sorry son, you know, dad's had a bad day. It's a lot of pressure though, isn't it? But like you say with the staff, if you've got someone who's struggling or not pulling the weight even, you got 3 other members of staff maybe, they're all getting the same money. Well, why is he, you know, he's not working as hard as me, and then it causes problems like that as well, I can imagine. So
yeah, it's tough. And I've worked with a lot of family over the years, brothers, cousins, you know, and they've all gone off and they've done their own thing, but it's hard working with family. It's hard working with dad, because he's got his way of doing things, I've got my way of doing things. Now there's a bit more, you know, okay, I take that on board, what you're saying, but I want it done my way, regardless. You know, I respect him more now in a way that
things change. Like even
They
me,
do.
even me now with the social media, like TikTok, things just they change so quickly.
Yeah.
And unless you change with them, you don't have a business. So sometimes your dad might not appreciate. Obviously, I'm doing this for a certain way because it's going to save us money, or it's going to save us time, or this is how it's done now.
I think the industry's just hard though, isn't it? Like the construction industry, not to blanket everyone as the same, but again, talking about myself, I was a bit of a class clown, didn't really do that well in school. Not everyone was the same, but you get a lot of people like that in one environment. It's a tough environment to be in, isn't it? And if you're not like that, it can be difficult to sort of mix with it. Same as the armed forces. You know, some of my mates who've been in the armed forces, they're brutal. Like their level of
Billy
banter
was like that, wasn't he?
is like way above mine, and it's savage. And I think you've got to be of a certain frame of mind to go and work in that industry. And I think that's why people find it so difficult. And then you add all the sort of complications that tradespeople have to face, like we mentioned earlier around tool theft. It's just not
getting paid.
You don't see many 6-year-old plasterers, do you? Do you know what I mean? It's a very, very physical game. It's hard to be not getting paid. So many things that are against them. It's a no wonder like they have to have this like brutal attitude towards life because they're just constantly getting hit with a stick. So they toughen up. You know.
That's what you were saying earlier about the tool theft, and it wipes you out overnight, and you do become hardened because you don't want to run a business where, you know, I'm just going to be an horrible git to everyone. You know, you want people to work with you. So I want to create a business where people want to come and work and they say, do you know what, he's fair, he's decent, he looks after me. But a lot of builders, and that's what my dad used to say, is that I find that people take advantage of you because they get this, not so much maybe jealousy, but the resentment of you're doing all right, but they don't see the backside of it. You know, the long hours and pricing and things like that. They just see that nice car on the driveway. Oh, he must be doing all right. You know, and they built. So you do become toughened as such. Like you were saying earlier, like with class clown. I mean, a teacher said to me, like, it's a shame there isn't a GCSE for class clown because you'd pass with flying colours.
That's why you did drama, mate.
That's why I did drama. Yeah.
Crack me up. Should we head over to the lap times then?
Start your engine! The winner is...
Two Adams at the top of the tree.
I'll take second.
Eve would be very happy. There we go.
Honestly.
Should we? So one thing that we always do towards the end of the show, after we've done these lovely lap times, is we always come back to you guys to talk about sort of future stuff, what you'd like to do in the future, or any sort of advice that you'd like to give to anybody that like is listening, regardless of whether it's somebody in the trade or whatever it is, just like future aspirations or anything that you'd like to sort of.
You're going to pass on any wisdom, or even plug your social media.
Yeah, I
think everyone should know who On the Tools are.
No, I think in terms of like what we're trying to do at the minute is, it's more people are leaving the trade than entering it. We touched on it earlier. It's not like a very sexy industry to join anymore, especially when you got like things like marketing, social media jobs. People don't want to go out and get their hands dirty. So one thing we want to do is we want to get more people into the trade. How do we showcase people like PB, and how do we people can be a success? What you were talking about earlier about people coming out of university with debt, where you can go straight to college, start learning an apprenticeship, by 21 be earning 35, 40 grand a year. It's a possibility. So how do we do that? That's what we want to do. We want to get more people into the trade and stop people leaving, improve the conditions, get more women on the tools as well. That's a big focus for us this year. I think only 1% of women make up the number for like people who are actually on the tools. So I think
we looked at that with Darcy, wasn't it? With bricklayers, female bricklayers, because you hardly see.
You don't see it. Well, back when I was doing it, it was none. Like it was like one on a whole
no
site.
such thing as women's workwear.
No. Yeah. So that's what we want to try and do. Is we want to try and improve the industry because it benefits everyone then in the industry, doesn't it? You know, if you're selling products, it benefits you. We want eyeballs watching our content, benefits us. So that's what we want to do. And in terms of advice, you know, I am like one of the biggest wingers you'll ever fucking meet, and I've achieved
the chicken wing king.
I am the chicken wing king. Just a normal bloke, you know, no decent education, just works fucking hard. And I think if you work hard, you know, eventually it'll come to you. So just keep working hard, I guess.
Good advice. What about you then, Danny? Future plans or any?
Follow Madden Builders first of all.
Did you do Instagram?
Instagram, yeah, mainly Instagram. Yeah, TikTok.
TikTok's the best.
Troll me.
Yeah, the TikTok's the best. Just read the comments.
Yeah, just read the comments. Troll me. Yeah,
Mr. Slab.
How do you
that's
deal with
it.
the trolls? Do you give a good fight back, or do you just leave them to it?
Mainly with kindness, if I'm honest, because I've seen a lot of them backpedal through doing that.
Yeah.
So I've got some really nasty comments, and then I've actually commented back with kindness, and they've backpedaled and actually come around and said, you know, apologise for that. Like you were saying earlier, I had a bit of a crap day.
Yeah.
Took it out on you. I think you're not going to win an argument over the internet.
You can't argue with an idiot.
No.
That's the one thing I've learned from social
true.
media. You can't argue with an idiot. So I can't argue with myself,
Yeah.
basically.
But what I'd love to see change is I'd love to see schools pushing apprenticeships more. Because I think if it was offered to me at the time, not being very academic, I would have, knowing that my dad was in the trade anyway, it would have pushed me to take a trade up.
Was any
age.
alternatives like at my school? The alternative was going into the armed forces.
That was it.
So
we had the Marines came to the school, and I was literally about to join the Marines. And similar to you, I was like, do I really fancy going abroad fighting? I just nah. But so it was go with my dad. But if they pushed apprenticeships more, maybe, you know, I would have done a trade a lot sooner rather than going back to college at 24, 25 and having to sit with a load of like 16-year-olds, you know, and it's tough when you're that age as well. And they really are only there because they're being paid to be there. It's a bit of a DOS. You know, where you want to knuckle down, actually do something and make something of yourself. So that I'd love to see that push more in apprenticeships, because there are a hell of a lot of kids, and I've spoken to kids at school that maybe are not going to get the grades that they were hoping they were going to get, but there's other options that they could go into, like in the building, as you said, like we need tradesmen, we need tradespeople.
Is there anywhere, obviously, I know you do like campaigns for tool theft and certain things like that. Is there anywhere where somebody, if they are an apprentice, can go and get any information from like your website or anything that On the Tools have done to try and help them in?
Yeah, 100%. We get people message us and ask how they can do it. Another thing we're going to do this year is we want to become a source for like informative information. Entertainment is always on. You know, you want those funny videos. We're always going to do those. You know, and we love that. But what we want to do this year is just more informative information. And I think we need to get, like you said there, we need to get into schools and be like, showcase successful people in the construction industry. This is someone who's done really fucking well, you know, and yes, it's a physical job and it's not for everyone, but it is not just shoveling
waiting for you to go to college and they go, you only do TikToks.
This year I'm touring different colleges throughout the country to talk about plumbing, obviously, but also what I've done on social media.
Can't wait for someone to say that to me.
But the trouble is, that's at plumbing colleges, so they're already there to do plumbing.
They're already there.
It needs to be at the school before they leave. Or while they're at the careers guidance
they've got
level.
that option to do that. They just think it's the be all. There's just university.
But do you think that falls with like my school? Like I know that they've got like a old boys sort of thing where they try and keep in contact with like people that were at the school or whatever it is, and it's like they never come back and say, oh well, which trades are you in? Do you mind coming in and like talking to the kids at school? Like part of that I think falls on the school as well, to keep in contact with maybe ex-pupils to say, what are you doing now? Can you come back in?
Yeah, I think it's because tradespeople have such a bad rep. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
when I've worked in the trade, I worked in for 12 years, and people aren't impressed. But if you start telling people, you know, what you do for a living, the things you build, you know, what you sort of like provide for society and the money you can earn off it, people start going, oh, fucking hell, that's fucking really, really good. I was shocked when I first saw, I was like, people earning like fucking £2,000 a week.
The one I got was
trade.
like digger drivers and stuff like that. Some of the money that like people just driving a dump around, so literally just getting like soil and stuff.
It's not that easy. Don't you pretend like you know what.
No, but like I was just like,
Just drive around.
no,
do
but
that.
like, but if somebody,
Alex sat in his, sat in his sandpit at home.
I'll be honest with you. If somebody had said to me like at school where you can go and do this, like I would have loved doing that.
Forklift driver. He's one of the viral videos where they knock the whole thing down.
Yeah.
This is easy.
No, but do you know what I mean? If somebody would have actually said to me, like, these are the things that, because not just being a plumber, like, if somebody said, oh, you get to sit on a digger all day and, like, excavate, I probably would have been like, that's fucking sick. Like, give me a blast of that. I probably would have killed somebody in the process because I can't drive, so driving one of them. But, like, I would have, do you know what I mean? And I think the more things that you can do as a kid to, like, I had so many jobs, like pot washing, just working as a supermarket. I did so many things and just, like, the majority of them I hated.
That's why I think schools have got to realise it. When you say a kid is not academic, straight away that puts them in, I'm no good at anything because I'm not academic. That doesn't mean that.
You get ostracised,
I'm crap at maths, you know, but the fact, and I've chosen an industry that revolves a lot around numbers. I've got a calculator, it's not the end of the world. And you know, it's that as soon as you say, well, this kid ain't academic, well, they're no good. They're not going to be a solicitor, a lawyer, or, you know, if there was that option of going into a trade, you say you can make bloody good money.
The system's broken, it. Remember the last time you used Pythagoras theorem?
I was about to say that.
Or
an algebra equation or whatever it was. What are they called? I don't even remember bloody now.
Long division.
Long division.
Okay,
So, but yeah, anything you want to say? No. Okay.
4.5 minutes. 4.5 minutes this morning.
Oh God, Pete.
What?
We back to cold showers again.
I'm up to 44, about a minute, 45 seconds a minute.
You doing it as well?
Yeah, I've been doing it since January.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What's this, having a cold shower?
Yeah, cold showers, yeah. My family hate me for it.
You're going to start this now on the tools. It'll be like PB has a cold. Everyone will be coming out holding the sack. It'll be like a thing on TikTok.
It's so good. If you struggle with your mental health, the feeling you get when you get out,
It's awesome.
It's incredible. It's tough getting in.
I love a warm
But-
shower.
If you're competitive, like you say, you're competitive.
Yeah.
So if you try this tomorrow morning, get in a cold shower, so full cold, and just get in. And
You
might
better message me and let me know how long you've done.
Can you turn his mic off just for a minute so I can talk? So tomorrow morning, get in this cold shower. You'll probably do 10 seconds, and you'll struggle to breathe, and it'll be horrible. But then the day after, you got to beat 10 seconds. So you're going to be competitive.
And it gets easier.
It gets a lot easier. Now I know I can do 3 minutes. So 3 minutes now is easy to me. 4 minutes, 30 seconds I'm at now.
Jesus.
And your skin feels amazing. You feel, you like, and it's nice sitting afterwards and just letting your body warm up. That feeling's nice as well.
I'm going to give it a go. I like that sort of
Bloody
stuff.
water bill's £4,000.
But what I do, so what I started, it was like
No wonder there's a
basically
drought.
getting in and trying to endure the pain.
Yeah.
But then once you know you can do 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, then just start having a shower. So wash yourself, wash your face, wash your hair. By the time you've done all that, 3 minutes is gone. And then if you want to do 4 minutes, you just got to stand there for an extra minute. But you don't feel the cold after a certain
Does
time.
sound pretty difficult. I'll be
It's
honest.
difficult, but it's an achievement first thing in the morning, and then the rest of your day.
Feel
But
good.
it's
I'd take
like
them.
great quote Mike Tyson said, do something that you hate like you love it. It's discipline.
If you can,
And
you can do something that's uncomfortable,
Yeah.
that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Then you've achieved something.
I take the piss, but when I do this wall from with him,
He can't. He won't. He will not be able to have a cold shower. I can tell just by looking at him. He's not got it in him.
Dip your toe.
Too soft.
you won't be able to have a super hot
You
shower.
send me a video tomorrow morning of you having a cold shower.
What are you going
Bet
to do if I
don't
get in
it.
there and I smash 5 minutes straight off
I
the
know
bat?
you won't.
I
you
will,
won't.
mate. Just to prove a point. That's the difference with me. Like, if you said I
Right,
can't do it, 5
everyone
minutes.
watching
I'm
at
in there.
home.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. I'll
Next
get the missus
episode,
to-
you're going to see a video of Alex having a cold shower.
Then coming out with me.
Have you got a shower here?
Yeah, I've got one here.
Let's get him in there.
No, I was supposed to do a TikTok with you about you going in there and then me laughing, then you coming out and going, no, it's a serious thing. There is a TikTok. I'll show you the TikTok in a bit. But no, we'll wrap it up there. hopefully you won't hear of me having a cold shower and having a heart attack or something in there. And that's about it, isn't it? Thank you very much
Cheers, guys.
for both
you.
coming on.
Thanks for having us on. I appreciate it. Yeah.
No worries. Done.
See you next time. If you like listening to Al talk over all the guests, if you've enjoyed this episode of Trade Legends, listening to Al talk over everybody else and people banging on the desk, if you've enjoyed listening to him watching today, you fucking gonna just stay still, one space, just for a minute.
If you've enjoyed watching this, blah, 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 blah.
So
Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
So I'll just not do it.
Go.
Yeah, you sure? I'm gonna shut up for just like a minute. If you've enjoyed listening and watching today's Trade Legends podcast, please subscribe to our channel. It will really help us out. We're a new podcast. We want to do big things, and you subscribing, hitting the little bell so you get notifications would be just great. Thank you.
Hitting the little bell. I was like, ah, yeah, ding, 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 ding.
There is a little bell in there.
Beasley Workwear now proudly sponsors Trade Legends.